You're listening to The Briefing, first broadcast on the 28th of August 2025 on Monocle Radio. The Briefing, in association with Addis. Hello and welcome to The Briefing, broadcasting live from Studio One here at Midori House in London. I'm Chris Chermak. Coming up on today's program.
Alors il y a des gens qui disent t'en fais pas Simone, le bateau flotte encore.
France's Prime Minister François Bayrou says you don't ignore a ship of debt that's taking on water, or some phrase to that effect, but is he sinking the entire ship by trying to patch up the hull? We'll delve into those metaphors and others with our Paris Bureau Chief Simon Bouvier. After that, we'll talk Barcelona and Monocle's Quality of Life conference, now just 1 week away. That's with our editor Andrew Tuck. And after that, it is Thursday and Fernando for today's Global Countdown. After many specials, you've returned to form.
Absolutely, Chris. Today we head to Senegal to hear some velvety voices singing about love.
It'll be special anyway, Fernando. All that right here on The Briefing with me, Chris Chermak. Welcome to The Briefing, and we will start with France, which just can't seem to agree on a government or reforms these days. The country's politics have once again been thrown into uncertainty by the Prime Minister's vow to call a vote of no confidence that he's almost certain to lose, forcing President Emmanuel Macron to go shopping for his fourth Prime Minister in 2 years. Well, I'm joined now by Monocle's Paris Bureau Chief, Simon Bouvier. Simon, what is it like to live in the capital of dysfunction at the moment? I thought Washington, D.C. was bad.
Bonjour, Chris. Well, I would argue that it's not quite comparable yet. We haven't started firing officials who run independent government agencies here yet, but the exactly, tomato. The political back-to-school season does promise to be pretty chaotic, principally because the Prime Minister on Monday kind of shocked the political scene by saying that on September 8th, there will be a vote in the Assemblée Nationale, a lot earlier than the normal back-to-school season for Parliament, which is normally at the end of September, to determine whether or not he's going to continue.
Just to jump in there, Simon, was this really such a surprise? And if this was a surprise, then why? I mean, has Bayrou just kind of had enough? Why force the issue like this?
Well, I think that he had spent the summer making suggestions about how France's kind of runaway public spending could be cut back, and all of his suggestions were one more unpopular than the other. So I think he saw that the negotiations over how to cut spending were going to be intractable and would likely cost him his job. So he decided to get ahead of it. That's what I think happened.
But nonetheless, I mean, this is French politics at the moment, isn't it? I mean, if the governments are not willing to do unpopular things, or if the French voters are not willing to accept unpopular things, isn't there a point where this is going to start coming back to haunt them? They cannot get anything through. Isn't the economy going to start feeling the effects of this?
Yeah, and I think we're in to your point, we're in a vicious cycle, Chris, which is that the Parliament, ever since President Macron called these kind of surprise early elections that yielded for the first time in post-war history, really, divided Assemblée Nationale, where no kind of hard decisions can be made because nobody agrees about what the way forward is. It's this vicious cycle of sclerosis leading to the government being toppled, leading to a new government, which is then subsequently toppled, etc. And I think public discontent will only continue to grow.
Which also makes this, I guess, what Bayrou is doing a little bit ridiculous, no? I mean, this means that Emmanuel Macron then has to pick yet another prime minister. You said that Bayrou is doing this because he knows that he wasn't going to get anything through Parliament. But that, exactly as you say right now, right, that's a fact. It's a divided government. No other prime minister is going to get anything through either.
Right. I think this is more about him thinking of himself and the optics of how he will exit office. I think he wants to avoid the civic-minded disgrace that his predecessor, Michel Barnier, endured by making suggestions on a budget that led to him being toppled. I think here he's saying, well, let's have a vote about whether you agree or not tackling public debt is a serious problem, which everybody agrees on. And nobody in the opposition is duped by this strategy. They're saying, we're going to kick you out one way or the other. So he can leave office with his head held high and saying, I was the only adult in the room. But that's just kind of artifice, in my opinion.
Well, to that point then, if let's take him at his word there that he is the only adult in the room, could something actually still turn this around before the 8th of September? You are seeing market reactions as well. There's all these jitters from investors raising the cost of borrowing in France because they're so worried that nobody is going to get control of France's debt. Could some of that maybe rub off on some of those other, those other opposition parties that have to allow this government to do something? Could they maybe see their way to agreeing to some sort of deal?
Well, I think he's no stranger. Bayrou isn't to backroom deals, and he went on television yesterday ostensibly to explain to French voters why he was doing this. He didn't make any concrete proposals in the 20-plus minutes that the interview lasted, but he did say he would meet with party bosses of all stripes next week, and I think he will try the kind of horse trading that he is known for to see if anybody will backtrack and come to some sort of agreement to support his government and pass the budget. But the reactions were so immediate and unequivocal that any opposition leader that says, never mind, after saying, this is scandalous and we're absolutely going to vote you out on September 8th, if they backtrack, they are going to lose a lot of credibility. So I don't see it happening.
Well, Simon, where does this leave Emmanuel Macron then? Is he rolling his eyes? Is this driving him a little bit crazy that he has to pick probably yet another prime minister? He doesn't want to force yet another election, so his only option is to continue playing this strange game.
Right. I think that it can only be described as stalling. As we were saying earlier, he can only name a prime minister from his own camp, which is in the minority and therefore will necessarily be unpopular and have a hard time governing. Because if he names a prime minister from his opposition, they will immediately try to undo some of the policies like retirement reform that he is very attached to. So this cycle of him naming an ally as prime minister and having them do their best to try and pass the bare minimum legislation is probably what's going to be repeated. I think the bookmaker's favorite for the next name is Defense Minister Sébastien Lecornu, who has pretty cordial relations with Marine Le Pen's national rally. So her tacit support could allow him to have more wiggle room than Bayrou. But I don't see him being able to actually govern German style with consensus and so on and so forth. It's just going to be rinse and repeat until the next presidential elections, in my view.
Simon Bouvier, our Monocle's Paris bureau chief, thank you very much for unpacking that. I'm sure we'll bring you back on closer to the possibility for, the collapse of a French government. This is The Briefing, and now here's Laura Kramer with the day's other news headlines.
Thanks, Chris. At least 14 people have been killed by Russian airstrikes on Kyiv overnight. Ukraine says Moscow fired more than 600 drones and missiles in a succession of attacks. It's the most deadly night raid on the Ukrainian capital this month. Closing arguments have ended in the trial of Hong Kong media mogul and pro-democracy activist Jimmy Lai. He's accused of conspiring with foreign forces and sedition. The verdict is expected in the coming months. And global airlines are urging the UN's aviation body to raise the pilot age limit by 2 years to 67. They say demands for flights is outpacing the supply of trained pilots. The UN Aviation Agency will consider the proposal, but U.S. pilot unions oppose the move, arguing the change could affect safety. Those are the day's headlines. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks very much, Laura. And now to some in-house news, because... How is that for an introduction to Monocle's editor-in-chief, Andrew Tuck? Because, Andrew, it is just 1 week until our Quality of Life conference. We didn't even have, the final countdown words in that bit of music for you, Andrew, so you have to say it. It is the final countdown.
It is the final countdown. I think I've been hearing that music following me around for the last few weeks. Wherever I go, I'm in the shop, there it is playing. It's like you with a nice Austrian waltz always playing in the background. I've got that music.
It's always just in the head, yeah.
It dogs me.
Yeah. It's either waltzes for me or Falco from Austria. It's usually in my head. Amadeus, something along those lines. Are we going to play that in Barcelona? What kind
Amadeus? No, that I don't know, Chris. You're taking us. That would have been the Vienna conference many years ago. We're going to Barcelona.
Yes.
The team from here will slowly be trickling over there next week. We mostly arrive on Wednesday, but our guests and speakers start arriving on Thursday. Thursday's the big reception to welcome everyone to Barcelona in the Miro Foundation. And then the following day, the Friday, is the conference. And then Saturday we have some treats in store as well. But yeah, it's essentially a key day and 2 half days, but it's a nice period of time to be together with our readers and listeners.
Are you excited to go to Barcelona?
Can't you hear it in my voice? Get me there. Of course I am.
When are you actually going to be there? Are you going to have your own sort of setup?
I've got my own Winnebago. Parked outside with my name sprayed on the outside. Well, I think it's my name.
I love that. Yes, we do need to have that right outside of the facility as well.
I'm heading down on Wednesday as well, but on Thursday is when it all kicks off. Look, for me, we do so many things across the year, and you dispatch magazines, and you get correspondence back from people, which is wonderful, and you meet people across the year at smaller events we do. The Quality of Life conference for me is just the best extrapolation of what we do. It's where all of these people fly in from around the world, and over a course of these couple of days, you see people make friendships. I see people. Do you know we have a couple getting married? We have a couple getting married who met
a stage? No.
Well, that would be I must ask them. They're a Quality of Life pairing. A European and an American met at Quality of Life. They're getting married. So things happen at the Quality of Life conference. Maybe that should be the strapline. Quality of Life, Monocle. Things happen.
I mean, I've been seeing ads for Hinge on CNN. Maybe we need to sort of add a sort of Monocle version of that.
But seriously, I've seen people start businesses, move cities, find husbands and wives, it turns out, and on the whole just come together in these amazing conversations. They're started on stage. There's all these kind of action points and optimistic views and motivations from our speakers, which includes everyone from ministers of state to architects to designers to healthcare specialists. And they weave this really clever patchwork across the day of all these things that make for better quality of life for all. And at the end of it, as people pour into dinner and they go to the coffees and things, their heads are full of all this clever stuff, and they begin speaking to their friends and their new friends that they've made at the conference. And honestly, by the end of it, it's hard to get rid of them at the end of it, because they're all such buddies.
Well, and it sounds like if there is a marriage that has come out of this, then it really is about the after parties in particular.
Look, I know that Mr. Brûlé always likes to ensure that there's a dance floor moment. And so certainly after the big day of the conference, there's a gala dinner, and there is a nice cocktail moment. But after that, get your dancing shoes on. We did it in Jakarta. Honestly, in Jakarta, my knees have only just recovered about 6 months later after the Chiefs. But I've got a feeling, a good old kind of Barcelona dance moment is heading your way. Okay. And again, it's just good. It's just conferences, of course, they're about learning and education and resetting your lives and finding new inspirations. but they're also about getting down on the dance floor.
And once your knees are completely buckled and you can no longer move, what happens on the Saturday when you then have to get up again and walk the streets of Barcelona?
Yeah, so we've organised exclusive access. So you can go to a Gaudi building before it opens, before anybody's there with the curator. We'll take you around. And then Bofill, which is perhaps the most famous architecture studio practicing at this time in Barcelona, we're all heading there. And there may be a brunch moment, I believe, in their studios, which is inside this amazing old disused concrete factory. The factory is made of concrete, but it made concrete as well. Just to clarify for our particular readers, and it's going to be great. And then I'm not telling you what's happening after that, but there's a lot happening. It goes on.
Wow.
It
continues.
goes on.
There's a secret after that for anyone.
There's always a secret. And at the conference, we have organised something which is just so spectacular, I'm not going to tell you. But it's happening during the day.
I think I know what this is, but I'm not going to spoil it to our listeners.
Keep your damn mouth shut.
Exactly. I will absolutely keep
Or no more Amadeus for you, sir.
Just before you go, though, to get back to the main event part, Andrew, is there a name you want to throw out, a couple of names for people who are listening that you're especially excited about?
Oh my God, I'm excited about everybody. There's not you won't be surprised for me to say there's not a Duff speaker, but I know that Noura Al-Kabi, who is a Minister of State for the United Arab Emirates, she's coming to talk about the role that the UAE can play in hosting conversations. Sounds pretty dry, but you wait till she gets started. You know, they've been involved in the prisoner swaps between Russia and Ukraine. She believes in this. It's still in the power of diplomacy. And so I'm super excited to talk to her. Keiji Takeuchi, who's born in Japan, raised in New Zealand, studio in Milan. He's coming to talk to me about how designers should give people dignity back through the work that they do. Don't just make another bloody table. Make people feel better about their lives. And he's got the perfect example, which is, well, I'm not going to tell you. The people got to buy a ticket.
There are so many secrets.
Well, no, actually,
here,
I'll tell
Andrew.
you. It's about the humble walking stick and the humble cane. But, oh my God, are we going to bring that to life on stage? Because actually, we should have reversed it, shouldn't we? We should have done the dancing first, then I could have used the cane to get around for the next couple of days.
Yeah, just keep...
I might have to borrow one from him after my dance floor moments.
And I can't wait to find out what the sort of theme tune of Barcelona is, if it's not going to be Amadeus. Barcelona by Freddie Mercury, perhaps?
Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it? That would be good. And didn't, yeah, because he had the microphone on a kind of cane, so we could attach the microphone to a cane.
Yes.
And I'm not opposed to getting into a leotard.
One more thing to look forward to at the Quality of Life conference.
If that doesn't sell tickets,
we don't know what will. Andrew Tuck, Monocle's editor-in-chief, thank you very much for joining us. The Quality of Life conference is next week in Barcelona. You're listening to The Briefing on Monocle Radio. That sound jingle means only one thing. I am joined in the studio now for the Global Countdown by Monocle's senior correspondent, Fernando Augusto Pacheco. Although, Fernando, before we get on with the Global Countdown, you were just hearing my chat with Andrew Tuck, and you have a different suggestion for a Barcelona theme tune.
Yes, a Swedish band called Bodies Without Organs. They had an amazing hit called Barcelona, and it goes like this. Barcelona! That's it, with a great electro beat in the background. I have a voice for radio, but not for singing. I'm sorry, listeners.
I was going to say, that is the same as Freddie Mercury's Barcelona. All he says is Barcelona. So,
it's such a powerful name. It's a sexy name.
Combine the two together somehow.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Andrew Tuck has some suggestions there for us. And with that, we will move swiftly on. Where are we going today, Fernando?
We're going to a very chic country, Senegal, which I had the pleasure to visit a few years ago. I've been to Dakar. And honestly, I think they're very chic, and I was looking at the musicians that were going to listen to it now. They're all incredibly dressed. Perhaps the best dressed of them now is number 5. He was wearing in his recent Instagram posts like a kind of a mesh yellow top, kind of short-sleeved shirt. I'm a bit jealous of his fashion sense. I should know where he's buying his shirts. Probably by some great Senegalese designers.
Maybe you can message him after this. After he's heard that he's featured on Monocle Radio, he'll want to give you a special peek preview.
I hope so. Let's have a listen to number 5, Wally Bissac with Je t'aime. And you know, one thing I'm enjoying about looking at the Senegalese track, it's all about love and loving, eternal love, infinite love. I think I'm missing a little bit of love in the charts in a way.
You said that in our introduction to the show. It is all about love. Is it all local as well? Is this the feel we're going to get?
It's almost everything is local. I think, you know, we might hear some people from a different country here and there, but, you know, I think they have quite a strong music scene as well.
Well, that was a very sweet start, I have to say. It was very nice, very easy listening, very, very good fun. Where are we going for number 4?
We'll continue with the easy fun, and this track has been on the charts for 7 months and counting. Oof. So clearly has a lot of staying power there. It's VJ with K-Way. And this
bit of dancing going on to that one, also in our booth.
Absolutely. And this track has just been nominated for the All Africa Awards for the Best Male Artist in Western Africa. The thing is, he does have a strong competition as well, because this is, of course, a Pan-African award. In this category, there's Rema, Wizkid. I mean, it's going to be tough for him to win, but still. It's a good track.
Good track. It's a good, nice track. We were enjoying that one. What do we have at number 3?
More Love. And it's not just me talking. I mean, this song is self-described by the artist. It's a powerful tribute to true love, infinite love.
Infinite love.
Whatever that means, it's a beautiful thought. It's Jaman Express with Damalai Bag. And bag, I think, is to love in the local language Wolof. Let's have a listen. I mean, I think this is my favorite so far.
Oh, it is also very sweet. And we now have a bit of local language too.
And if you
have learned.
If you are in Dakar, by the way, tomorrow he's playing a kind of a more intimate gig. It's actually in a restaurant, but it's a very cool restaurant. I mean, and I think you can still buy tickets.
That sounds pretty amazing. I'd love to have like a restaurant show.
I've eaten in some restaurants in Dakar. I have to say, I was very impressed.
Enjoying. You clearly like Dakar. You should go back.
I would love to go back and to buy some clothing there, because I generally, I thought it was a spectacular city.
Once you've got your recommendations from our number 5, Wally, you can go back and pick up your special gear, Fernando.
But we were missing some divas, aren't we?
We were missing some divas, but I have a feeling from the way that you have seamlessly set that up that we're about to hear some divas.
Absolutely. So it's a meet of divas, I have to say. One of them, she is known as, the most renowned Guinean diva. Her name is Ejeli Kaba Bintou, and she sings with the Senegalese singer Mia Guissé with Unique.
Je suis unique, oh, je suis unique, Nélé unique, oui moi je suis unique, Tanaï Bounia Sama, moi je suis unique, Nélé du Soussou, Mali Lima, oh man rek, Khale bu féroce, sama yangal gazam, Jibine Goulandam, Danda Kumba Motak Bagiso, Gelbiru Selmorom.
A bit of French brought in there as well. We're getting all these different influences, Faye.
Absolutely. And finally, an artist that is not from Senegal. But as I said, she's an international diva, Ejeli Kaba. She is famous across Africa and across some countries in Europe as well. I mean,
not to put you on the spot here, Fernando, although I often do. Are any of these going to make the Monocle playlist? I feel like there should be some additions.
I think so. I'm seriously considering Jaman Express. And we didn't reach number 1 as well, which I think is a powerful contender for the playlist, and okay. I'm not joking.
I will ask you again afterwards. So what do we have at number 1?
So at number 1, and this song I forgot to mention, the music rhythms of Senegal. One of them that, to be fair, I never came across before, Mbalax. That's, I think, the name of the national dance music. And there are a lot of influences. There's a lot of wall of drumming, some touches of Latin, jazz, and other rhythms as well. So I think this is very typical from not only Senegal, but from other countries in the region like Mauritania and the Gambia as well. But number one is beautifully produced, this track. I think it does scream Monocle Radio. It is Ash's the Best, which is a Senegalese singer, and the song's called Aras. I think, Chris, sometimes when I do the global countdown, you look at the top 5, there's like, oh my God, hip-hop, pop, it goes crazy, it goes in different directions. But this one, I think every song's quite complementary to each other. There is a vibe there.
There is absolutely a vibe, and I have to admit, the vibe, I would say, does just kind of put a smile to your face.
Yes, that's exactly what I think they're trying to do there.
Fernando Augusto Pacheco, thank you very much for joining us. That is all the time we have for this edition of The Briefing. It was produced by Laura Kramer. Our researcher was Henry King, and our studio manager was Elliot Greenfield. The Briefing is back tomorrow at the same time. I'm Chris Chermak. Goodbye, and thanks for listening.